Guys, today we're going to be looking at one of the girthiest hand cannons in the game, and that's Krimel's Dagger. And look, I don't know what it is about Bungie and Iron Banner weapons, but man, when it comes to the hand cannons, they go all out. You got the Chode, and now you got Krimel's, two hand cannons out here representing. But I will say, sometimes the gun models do feel a bit too much. If it's too thick, then it takes up too much of your screen. And if you're sitting there trying to land shot after shot, that much thickness is a detriment. With that being said though, this is a kinetic, aggressive frame, 120 round per minute hand cannon. It is meant to be a heavy hitter. On top of that, Bungie's actually gone out of their way in giving Krimel's Dagger a small bump in its overall stats. This release alongside the final shape, and you can see that the stability went up from 23 to 31. Its handling went up from 23 to 31 as well, with the max size being increased from 8 to 9. Its AE also got increased from 10 to 21. These are nice stat bumps though here, guys. And a lot of the issues you may have had in the past with Krimel's Dagger, I'm not going to say are completely erased, but stat bumps like these actually gives this 120 round per minute hand cannon a fighting chance against stat monsters like Igneous Hammer. Now, speaking of Igneous, if we take a look at its stats and compare them side by side, you can see how much Krimel's Dagger falls below Igneous. But the only hand cannon that rivals Igneous in the stat department is Stern, and that's Stern with its exotic catalyst and being an exotic itself. But if we take those two hand cannons out of the equation, Krimel's Dagger is doing really well, and actually only falling behind weapons like Malediction in terms of handling and reload, which means the defining point for this hand cannon is going to come down to its perks, as it always does. Starting with our third column, we have Enlightened Action, Slime Waste, Air Trigger, Strategist, Moving Target, and Outlaw. In the fourth column, we have Kill Clip, Explosive Payload, Zen Moments, Opening Shot, Adagio, and Precision Instruments. Now let's start in PvP first. Considering most of you are probably going to be farming this weapon for PvP, I want you to take a look at Enlightened Action. This is a perk that I really like on Malediction, where dealing damage improves reload speed and handling. Now this will stack up to 12 times, and it will grant bonuses to handling and reload speed at each stack, which lasts for 2 seconds. Also, the amount of stacks per hit changes depending on the weapon type. So for example, hand cannons, you actually will get 3 stacks per hit, meaning it would take 4 hits to reach a max stack of 12. Now if we just take 3 stacks into consideration, this alone gives you plus 12 handling, as well as plus 12 reload speed. 6 stacks grants you plus 25, 9 will give you plus 38, and 12 will give you a whopping plus 50 to both of those stats. The enhanced version of this simply increases the maximum stat bonus by 5, taking it from 50 to 55. Now normally this isn't a huge deal on most weapons, but with 120s generally having pretty low stats in both handling and reload, the buffs here are very nice, which is why Enlightened Action is a solid choice overall. Now next we have Slime Waste, and this is not to be confused with Slide Shot. Slime Waste reads that sliding partially reloads the weapon's magazine and temporarily boosts handling and stability. Essentially, guys, when you slide, you reload 15% of your mag. This will grant you 25 stability and 20 handling, which lasts for 3 seconds. Now, something to note is that those 3 seconds also serve as a cooldown to then refill your mag, meaning as long as the buff is active, sliding will not refill the magazine. Now, this can be bypassed, however, if you stole your weapon, then take it out and then slide again. Now, Enhanced Slime Way actually bumps these stats up by 5, so essentially giving you plus 30 stability and plus 25 handling. It's a good perk, guys. I love Slime Shot, but at the same time, when you have a weapon like this with low stability and low handling, Slime Waste makes sense here. But this also takes us to a new perk called Air Trigger, which reads, increase ammo reserves, and when airborne, accuracy and reload speed are increased, but target acquisition is decreased. Now, you know how I feel about double-edged perks. I hate things that hurt us, especially anything that hurts target acquisition. This one's kind of a weird one because it improves accuracy, but at the same time, it hurts target acquisition, which really boils down to us talking about cones, which can be an entire video all on its own. But if we were to take a look at our reload at base, this would take roughly 130 frames to perform. With Air Trigger being procced, this drops it down to 73 frames. That is a ginormous bump in reload speed. We're talking outlaw levels of reload. But where outlaw requires a precision kill, Air Trigger does not. Simply just requires you to be up in the air. And you can literally just bunny hop, press reload at the same time, and boom, you've procced it. Now the enhanced version of this simply bumps up the ammo reserves benefit, but considering this is a primary weapon, this provides really no benefit at all. So what does this mean? Well, it means that Air Trigger is better than what I expected just for the reload speed bonus. Question is, would you use it over some of these other traits? Most notably, moving target. Moving target increases movement speed and target acquisition when moving while aiming down sights. It also grants plus 10 aim assist, so long as you are aiming down sights, which you're using a hand cannon and it's not called last word, you most definitely are. This is a great perk, guys. It allows you to snag headshots with more ease. It allows you to strafe a bit faster. The enhanced version of this improves the aim assist bonus from 10 to 11. I've always liked moving target. It's a good perk. It really has no downsides. And when looking at all the perks in this third column, moving target is probably the perk I'm going to be going with. Don't get me wrong, I like inline action, I like slime waves, I like air trigger, but I want to win my 1v1s. Moving target allows me to do that with more ease. But this is also a preference thing, because I'm completely fine with going into my armor mods and selecting a dexterity perk to slot in to help with that handling. At the same time, if I didn't want to go moving targets, what other perk would I probably roll with? Probably inline action. And I know that may surprise some of you because you're like, Cross, what about air trigger? Again, inline action is something that can proc in the middle of the gunfights. I don't have to do anything but shoot my weapon. And even though I do like slime waves here, inline action is a great perk on weapons like Malediction. And you can utilize it in the same way right here on Criminal's Dagger. But to me, moving target, which is what a lot of this gameplay is, that's the perk that I like the most. Now moving on to our fourth column. These perks are absolutely stacked. We've got Kill Clip, which gives us that 25% damage bonus when reloading after getting a kill. And this buff lasts for 5 seconds. Now, you can actually go up to 5.5 seconds with the enhanced version. Now, time to kill wise, again, for all 120s, you're looking at getting a 1 second TTK value, which is by no means fast, and you got to land 3 crits on Guardians tier 10 to tier 7 resilience. Now, from tier 6 and below, you are able to get the kill in 2 crits, 1 body. Now, before you hold your nose up at the time to kill values, keep in mind the kind of weapons these are, they're very peek oriented, right? You peek your head out and you land a devastating shot that does a lot of damage. And in team shot environments, 120s are hell to go against. Now, does Kill Clip move the needle in terms of time to kill? Well, it cranks our damage up from 89 to 111 per crit, which means you're still going to get the kill in 1 second, but you're able to do it in 2 crits, 1 body, even on max resilience Guardians. Now, from tier 9 to tier 6 resilience, you can get the kill in 1 crit, 2 body, and then if you happen to find a Guardian at tier 5 resilience and below, you can in fact get the kill in 2 crits, which does drop our time to kill value to 0.5 seconds. Keep in mind, at one time, Kill Clip and Rampage used to be the top dogs in terms of perks for 120s. But since the damage changes, Kill Clip also got nerfed at one time. This is why you're not able to maintain that 2-tap potential with perks like Kill Clip, even at max resilience. This also further proves why rocking higher resilience is actually pretty meta, even inside of PvP. And next up, we have Explosive Payload. Very good flinch perk, guys. Projectiles create an area of effect detonation on impact. The enhanced version just simply gives you a passive +5 reload. But one thing to note about Explosive Payload is that it splits your damage into 2 numbers. One of those numbers is your impact damage, and the second number is that detonation damage. The beautiful thing about the detonation damage is it doesn't have fall off, which means inside of PvP, you're able to maintain full damage, at least for the explosive portion. I used to rock it all the time on True Prophecy, and I loved it. But as you can see here, Explosive Payload now deals less damage overall, only dealing 85 total damage per crit, rather than the base of 89. Now, Bungie made this change because so many were choosing Explosive Payload over our other perks, most notably because of its ability to flinch. And with this drawback, this means on a 120 round per minute hand cannon, you need to land 3 crits on all Guardians tier 10 resilience to tier 2, whereas a base Criminal's Dagger can get the kill on Guardians 2 crits, 1 body at tier 6 resilience and below. So something to keep in mind there, guys. Next, we have Zim Moments. Causing damage with this weapon reduces recoil and flinch over time. A very strong perk here, guys. It essentially reduces visual shake by 15%. It also reduces reticle bounce by 15% and grants you extra flinch resistance, and it's based on the stack of Zim Moments. You can actually stack it up to 5 times. Now, something to note that despite the in-game description sounding like it reduces recoil, this has no effect on actual recoil. It's just visual. Now, that's not to take anything away from Zim Moments. It's obviously really, really good, and we utilize it on so many different weapons. And the enhanced version of this gives you +5 stability. It's a top pick, guys, for both mouse and keyboard and for controller players. Opening shot is also present here, which improves accuracy and range on the opening shot of an attack. This grants +20 aim assist, +25 range, and a 5% decrease to accuracy cone size, and a 10% decrease to accuracy cone growth, all within that first shot of an attack. Now, the enhanced version of opening shots increases that aim assist value to +25 and the range to +30. A very strong pick, guys, on 120s. Back in the day, I would say Explosive Payload was the way to go every single time. But considering the damage difference, I think I prefer opening shot, at least on a 120, over Explosive payload. Now the final perk here, which is a very interesting one, is Adagio. After defeating a target, this weapon fires, charges, or draws more slowly and deals increased damage for a brief time. Now this is a plus 30% damage increase, which is even more than Kill Clip. It lasts for 7 seconds. It also grants you plus 10 range, but at the same time, it lowers our rate of fire by 20%, which is substantial. Now in some cases, it hurts you. For instance, a tier 10 Resilience Guardian. You can kill in 1 crit 2 body with Adagio, but considering the rate of fire is now reduced by 20%, that time to kill value goes from 1 second to 1.2 seconds. However, on Guardians tier 9 Resilience and below, you can in fact land the 2-tap. It's not as fast as Kill Clip, but Kill Clip can't kill up to tier 9 Resilience. You could do this in 0.6 seconds. It's a good perk, guys. The enhanced version of it lasts for 8 seconds instead of 7. The only downside is if you go up against Guardians with max Resilience, you will find yourself at a disadvantage when proccing Adagio, which is unfortunate. I kind of wish Bungie just allowed for the 2-tap even for max Resilience Guardians here. Adagio is not a perk many people use, and I think this may be a perk people will use on Criminal's Dagger. But man, if I see a row of Titans in front of me and they're all rocking max Resilience, I'm gonna swap off. Now what about Precision Instrument? Again, dealing sustained damage increases precision damage. Now this is a very interesting perk, especially for 120s. Essentially, dealing damage will grant a stack of increased precision damage, and this lasts for 1.25 seconds and will stack up to 6 times. This is a very high risk, high reward perk, because if you miss a shot at all, this removes all of your stacks, but each stack will increase precision damage. Now it's not a whole lot. 1 stack is 4%, 2 stacks is 8%, 3 stacks is 12.5%, 4 stacks is 17%, 5 stacks is 21%, and 6 stacks is 25%. Now the enhanced version of this increases the damage per stack just slightly, essentially granting you 30% at 6 stacks, with a linear rise all the way through. The best thing about Precision Instrument though is the forgiveness that it can provide, as this will allow you to 2 crits 1 body in your Resilience tier if you land a body shot first, followed by 2 crits. However, you can also land 1 crit, 1 body, and then another crit and still secure the kill on any Resilience level, which is pretty big. It doesn't change our time to kill value, but this offers that ease of use. There's a reason why we love it on guns like Igneous Hammer, and it being present here on Criminal's Dagger is worth your consideration. Furthermore, it allows you to kill Guardians at max Resilience with an overshield in 3 crits. Granted, I feel like I'm just running into Hunters all the time, but yes, Bastion Titans are definitely still out there. Now, before getting into our God roll recommendations, let's talk about this origin trait, or I guess the 2 origin traits that are found on this weapon now. First up, we have Skulking Wolf. This states that while at low health, Guardian final blows of this weapon grant enhanced radar and remove you from opposing radar. So any kills you get while at 90 HP or below will grant the enhanced radar and remove you from the enemy radar for 10 seconds. But shooting will ping you on the radar for 2 seconds while this is active. The next one is Hotgate Breach Armaments, and this reads that this weapon deals increased damage against vehicles and constructs. Now inside of PvP, the only thing this would help you with would be destroying Titan barricades, so I would say Skulking Wolf is the better option of the 2. Now this takes us to my God roll recommendation. Look guys, we tried a lot of different things, and really there's a lot of things that actually work well for Criminal's Dagger, because honestly the weapon feels good. The fact that you can enhance these perks are even better. I think a high range roll with Hammer Forge, a ranged masterwork, and accurized rounds, this will allow you to easily reach up to 39 meters, almost 40. The question after that point is, can you live with 31 handling? Can you live with 24 reload? I personally love inline action, as well as moving target, and I think I would be happy with either one of those perks combined with Precision Instrument for 1v1s and probably Kill Clip or Adagio for 6v6. Did I enjoy my Zen moment roll? Absolutely. Opening Shot is still also a fantastic perk, but again, the thing that makes this weapon good is that you're essentially getting a 120 on Igneous's level, but in our top weapon slot. Precision Instrument, moving target, or inline action is a great combination. Now what about for my PvE players? 120s inside of PvE, kind of a throw. 140s are a lot better. 180s are definitely a lot better. Could you use this though? Sure. I mean, you've got explosive payload, you've got strategist. I think that combination is pretty solid there. Strategist is essentially demolitionist, but for your class ability, giving you back 10% of your class ability per kill. The enhanced version giving you 11%. And explosive payload is also a great perk, as we actually do more damage per shot. There's a reason why we love explosive payload on weapons like Fatebringer and Midnight Coup and even Zala's Bane. But the biggest drawback is that it's a 120. And not just a 120, a 120 with a terrible max size. Even if I was to recommend strategists, keep in mind that reload speed is going to be awful, which is why Air Trigger, Outlaw, you're going to need perks like that, maybe even Enlightened Action to keep up inside of PvE. Again, I wouldn't recommend it. DPS on 120 hand cannons is just not that good. This is a hand cannon though, guys, that's meant for PvP. And we have a ton of spicy perk combinations that I think many of you should not overlook. The ability to enhance these weapons further, giving them enhanced perks, the stat bumps that they gave out to Criminal's Dagger at the beginning of the final shape. There are a multitude of reasons why this hand cannon is a force to be reckoned with inside of Crucible. So guys, give it a go. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.